Greetings dear friends. In this video I will tell you how I made a drain pit, a septic tank for our house in the village, how I poured concrete and made a real bunker. Let's go. After reinforcing the extension of our house, pouring the foundation and laying a good block masonry, I move on to our septic tank. As always, calling myself for help, I start working. I already have tremendous experience with earthworks. I've basically dug up everything that could possibly be dug up on our property. I also dug the foundation for our big farm, which is 15 by 8 meters. There were many other earthworks too, which I won't show here. The most important thing you shouldn't do is dig a septic tank in the wrong place. Initially, I dug the septic tank in the wrong place. Our land survey showed our plot extended past the fence, but the septic tank was still too close to the neighbor's property line. By law, it was considered that I dug it basically illegally. I spent about a day digging that hole. After thinking about it at home, I realized I made a mistake and had to fill it back in. After such a mistake, I had to call a smarter, more experienced person, in this case myself again. And accordingly, I dug the septic tank in the right place, a 1.5 meters square. I also made the trench with the correct slope. After digging this pit a bit more, the soil of course was already very hard. All of this was already very difficult. I had to cut the handles of the shovels to make it easier to throw the soil out of there. After finishing with the pit, I started bringing in sand and laying it in the trench to make a cushion for our pipe. After pouring in the sand, I leveled it with a shovel, poured water over it so the sand would become more compact, and started assembling the sewer pipes. I tried many different methods to connect the pipes, searched the entire internet, tried lubricating the pipes and the rubber ring with motor oil, tried using soapy water and even sunflower oil. The only thing that worked was sanding the edges sharper, heating water to its highest temperature and dipping both pipe ends into it. Only this way was I able to connect these pipes, but the most interesting thing is that you won't be able to connect these pipes inside the trench. I had to make one long joined pipe, and only after that was I able to lay it in the trench. I installed the pipe at a level, lowering it 2 centimeters per meter. That way there was the correct slope so that all liquids and all waste products would flow easily with the water into this drain pit without getting stuck. If you make the slope steeper, then accordingly the water will flow down faster, but all the more solid matter can remain in the pipe, which will simply clog it. Next, we grab the shovel again and carefully cover everything with soil without any sudden movements so as not to shift the pipe. You can do it roughly, but I thought it was better to do everything carefully. After covering everything with soil, I laid a special barrier, placed it on the pipe and covered it with soil as well so that the soil wouldn't get into my pit. Next, I crawled under the extension since I needed to bring the pipe into the house itself. I also dug a trench under the extension and laid the pipe there as well. The pipe is laid and here is the entrance into the house. Now I'm starting to reinforce the walls of our septic tank by cutting rebar to pour the concrete walls. I'm using fiberglass rebar because I have a lot of it available. I've seen a lot of videos where people just put slate on the walls, and that way their septic tank lasted for decades. I decided that I would do everything with higher quality. I cut the fiberglass rebar. I understand it can't handle any load without breaking. I believe that the concrete walls won't bear such a colossal load that would cause the rebar to break. You can even lay masonry and there's no rebar in the masonry either, but the masonry doesn't get pushed out in any way. That's why I decided that I would use fiberglass rebar, which I have left over from building the farm and is just lying around in large quantities. After tossing all the rebar into the pit, I begin tying it. I have special spaces that show me what the distance between the rebar should be. Now, I made a special hook out of a nail and it helps me a lot in tying these cross pieces together. After finishing one wall, I moved on to the next and then the next, and now our framework is ready. Next, we cut the pipe so that the water from the pipe falls roughly into the center of our septic tank. I thought for a long time about what to use for the formwork, and then I remembered the large pieces of slate, which I also have plenty of. So I lowered the slate by myself as well. It's heavy, damn it. I put in the next one from the other side. The slate was laid. Now I just had to figure out this maze and decide where to put everything. Since I played sliding puzzles as a kid, I figured it out quickly. Next, I cut boards to reinforce the slate so that the concrete doesn't push it out. After cutting the right amount, I throw them all into my future septic tank again. Next, I didn't show you how I reinforced the slate formwork. I'll move straight to the start of the concrete work. My assistant Alexander and I loaded the wheelbarrow with sand and gravel and set off. Our poor Botovlog, of course, is trying to handle all of this. It's hard for him to deal with all this, but he has no choice. He'll have to manage somehow. So this is the formwork we ended up with. I screwed the boards at the bottom to the brackets, then made the same square on top. And all of this will reinforce our slate formwork perfectly. I still have 2 pieces left. I realized that we also need a cross piece in the middle, because without it the boards probably won't hold the slate anyway, and without this cross piece the slate might let the cement push through. It probably wouldn't have happened, but I decided to play it safe. Next, I added more slate so that the formwork would be higher than the ground level, and now we're starting the concrete work. 2 buckets, 3 buckets, 4, 5 and 6, plus a bucket of cement. We pour water over all of this, mix it, and the mixture is ready. Then we take a bucket, another bucket, another bucket, and another bucket, and we start working on all of this. We pour, 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 and pour. Basically, I keep pouring all of this without stopping, from different angles, constantly. I throw cement from different angles so it spreads out in this formwork. And then all our work is just about pouring. Basically, you need to mix, pour, carry, and then pour again, basically. And just run non-stop back and forth with a bucket as much as you have the strength and energy for. Switch with your partner accordingly and keep pouring, basically, that's the whole thing. Of course, this is a budget option when you have little money and you want to do everything properly, so to speak, in your home, so you'll have to work hard and sweat a bit. Maybe call someone, make your relatives come over, invite them to help pour all this cheaply. When you have money, it's better not to bother with things like this, but to buy rings or get a ready-made septic tank. It's already getting cold here. They start making mounds around the septic tank so that when the snow melts and streams appear, the water will look for a way to escape and no extra water will get into the septic tank. Why do we need extra filling? We have a big pile of soil that I haven't managed to spread out yet because my helper was busy and I was resting at that time. No one else could take care of it. And we ended up with pretty good mounds, which in the future will save us from our septic tank getting flooded. I covered it with slate so that when it rains or snows, once everything is piled up, the water will run off behind these mounds and go in some other direction. Winter has come. I didn't have time to make a hatch for the bunker. A makeshift temporary roof for it is ready. If you want the next full video to be about the bathroom from A to Z, how I installed the toilet, shower, washing machine and soldered the hot and cold water pipes, give as many likes as possible and the next video won't keep you waiting long. Thanks for watching. Bye.